Welcome to the 12 hours of Sebring here for Auburn iRacing. I'm Micah Farmer, and we have a long day of racing ahead of us here at Sebring. You might have caught our broadcast on Wednesday of the CIL Sports Car event here. That race a little bit shorter, just 100 minutes, and Pierce Hanley came home with the win in that one. We will be getting ready to go here in just a minute. You see the timer on your screen, 12 minutes to the start of this race. So we're going to leave you with just a little bit of a break before we get started, but just wanted to welcome you all to the broadcast and get this ready to go. In the number 33 Mercedes today for Auburn, we're going to have Pierce Hanley, Reese Bayham, and Cam Youssef getting ready to go in the main event here, the 12 hours of Sebring. So should be a fun one. We'll be back with more commentary in a few minutes. We'll get back with you guys about 2 minutes before we go green here. As you see all the cars rolling off, 11:56 on the timer before we get going here. So you'll continue to see this on your screen, but excuse me guys, early in the morning. It's an early morning for me out here in Auburn. So as you've probably been able to tell, that is a 12-hour timer, not a 12-minute timer. Again, early in the morning here in Auburn, Alabama right now, but we're not going anywhere. I'm going to stay right with you, and we're going to bring these guys around on the warm-up laps. You see that beautiful Auburn liveried Mercedes AMG GT3. As this should be a very fun event. We have three very quick drivers. You might remember Pierce Hanley from Wednesday's event where he won the GT3 class in the CIL Sports Car Series. Reese Bayham, the second driver in this team, is the current CIL Cup Series points leader, so a very quick driver in his own right. And then if the test session times are anything to go by, Cam Youssef should be right on their pace as well in this Mercedes. So three very solid drivers. Last special event for these Auburn Tigers was at Bathurst. It's been a few weeks since then, so charged back up and ready to go. Hopefully it'll be a clean race for this group in the AMG GT3. We also have a BMW in the field today, and that BMW has a crew of 4 drivers for Auburn. It's going to be Stuart McFall, Nathan Roth, Logan Smith, and then our last driver on that is Steven. Let me double check Steven's last name. That is Steven Russell in the BMW as well as your 4th driver. So we'll have some action from the BMW a bit later today, but starting off with the Mercedes in a higher split lobby. Should be some great racing here, and as always with an endurance event, the goal is just to keep everything clean off the start. So hopefully that'll be the case as drivers head through Tower right now towards the back portion of the lap, getting ready to go. This should be a very exciting event. As always, these 12 hours are all about attrition, all about making sure you can keep the car in one piece and make sure your strategy is on point and ready to go. But as you go through the last couple of corners, getting a little bit of deja vu from Wednesday, calling another race from Sebring. I will say the field here today is much larger and much more diverse as well. A lot of different cars in this event. I love this paint scheme on this Porsche here on the outside of our Auburn Mercedes, but hopefully we see this white car move up towards the front as the day goes along. Now just sunset left to go before we get going. Should be a good one. As heading down towards sunset now, the field wrapping around, and we look like we are underway here for the 12 hours of Sebring. So happy to have y'all with us. It's going to be a long day today. Let's get it started. Across the start-finish line, and we are go. Hanley is going to be in the driver's seat in the start of this one. You see him already thinking about a move, and he's going to go for it. 3 wide to the inside into turn 1. Pierce Hanley trying to get 2 spots immediately. You see the Mustang spinning off, but everyone else remains clear of that as Hanley already up a couple of spots, trying to get another on the inside of this BMW heading through this initial part of the lap. is a very tight left-hander here. You see the exit tightens on you again. Hanley right on the back of this Porsche in front of him. I believe it's the iRacing Porsche right in front of Hanley as we head down towards the hairpin now. Trying to pick up another position, and Hanley is going to do so. He gets in the back of the BMW, got a wreck right in front, manages to avoid that. A car spinning off to the left. Chaos everywhere at Sebring right now as we head in towards Cunningham, with Hanley still in the back of another Mercedes, has a Corvette to his inside. Going to back off, let them go 2 by 2 into Cunningham. A difficult place to go side by side. On Wednesday, we saw Hanley bumped off the track through here by the eventual second place finisher Connor Burns, or third place finisher, excuse me, is now in through Tower. Hanley all over the back of this Corvette right in front of him. That is the Noob Squad Racing Corvette in the Dale Earnhardt livery, as Pierce is all over the back of the Corvette heading into this last little complex here in towards Le Mans. And cold tires right now, you really want to bring those into their proper working window. Don't want to put too much of a shock through them too early. As always with these endurance races, you have to make your stuff count. If you burn up your stuff too early, you're going to drop through the back of these stints in a big way. So just being measured right now is extremely important, as in towards sunset we go. Hanley still on the back of this Corvette through sunset in towards the exit, trying to get a run down the front stretches. Oh, was that contact with the wall? Possibly contact with the wall, as you see that Mercedes a little bit slow down the stretch, vulnerable to the Porsche behind him. That's the SimMotion.com Porsche looking to the outside of Hanley in the Mercedes. Hanley's going to keep it through single file and stay right where he is. So from 23rd, 24th, all the way up to 16th in one lap. A gain of 8 positions and maybe a 9th down to the inside of the Corvette for Hanley, trying to stay right with him as they go through Big Bend here in turn number 6 down towards the hairpin. Hanley gonna lose out down that straightaway, but gonna be oddly 3 wide almost with the Corvette and the Porsches. They were all a bit staggered there heading into the hairpin, but they all straighten it back out. We stay single file as right now this Noob Squad Racing Corvette appears to be a little bit of a cork in the bottle for both Hanley and the SimMotion.com Porsche. Porsche to the inside, trying to make a move that's going to be a tight entry. Hanley gives him the space, stays outside. Again, you don't want to press the envelope too much too early here in this event, but good defensive driving there from Hanley. They're going to stay side by side into Tower, braking zone for the Porsche. That's a good move from the SimMotion.com Porsches. Once you get that inside line for the braking zone to Tower, it's awfully difficult for the other car to defend, but we're going to stay right on each other through these fast double left-handers, and now into the right, now into the left, and then that swing wide into Le Mans. You really have to get the nose pointed in. It's an extremely difficult off-camber corner to get right. It feels like you have to wait forever before putting the power down, but when you do get it right, it is a great feeling in the race cars. Now down towards sunset. Hanley back into 17th now, but hanging on the back of this Porsche. And again, this is a very high-level split in this lobby today. For those of you not familiar with iRacing and just tuning in, first off, we're happy to have you, but as well, there are different splits in iRacing lobby. So depending on the I rating, which is the level of the drivers in the field, the higher the split is, the higher the average I rating in the lobby is. So this is your top split. This is the best drivers in this event right now, as you see Hanley trailing the SimMotion.com Porsche still, which is on the back of that Corvette that's been in front of both of these guys for pretty much the entirety of the last couple laps now, as we are just over 5 minutes into this one. Only 11 hours, 54 minutes to go. I love these long endurance races. It's such a test of the consistency of your entire set of drivers and just how well you can work under pressure, consistent pressure for that long, and also your test of concentration, because in an event this long, if you get tired, if your concentration lapses, you and your team are going to be in trouble. As you see now, that Porsche in front get a little bit put off trying to go for a move on the Corvette, but had to back out of it. It's so difficult to go side by side through that portion of the track. Now back into Tower. Hanley looking for a run out of tower, down towards this fast double left-hander. Can stay pretty much right in the tire tracks for now, as this is another portion of the track where it's difficult to make a move, but I do think this Porsche is faster than the Corvette in front, as these three have all still stayed tucked up together, nose to tail, as we head down towards sunset. Again, Porsche thinking about a move, and you got to think too, Hanley hoping to follow through this Porsche if he does go for a move on the Corvette, but a little bit further back of the two in front off of Le Mans. Again, very difficult corner here, and then down into sunset, just keeping it wide, tight cut in under the bridge, pick up throttle, and then you see a little bit of a drift wide from the Mercedes compared to the other two drivers in front of him, but he is going to stay right on pace as we move along down towards turn number 1. Good, clean first 7 minutes from this Auburn team and Hanley so far, and that's really key. We saw multiple incidents on the first lap, cars spearing off in either direction, spinning out, and those kind of events, they always say you cannot win these events in the first corner, but you can certainly lose them, and we saw some of that on the first lap. So the more measured you can be and just stay calm, I think the better position it's going to put you in for later. Is quick check of the running order. It's the Swiss team, number 21, Velkin Esport right now leading this one at the top of the board. Speed Eagles in number 2, the Polish team, and then Connor Bros in third for the USA. Team Shiba for Italy is in fourth, and then Tachyon, I believe that's how that's pronounced, SimSport Carbon in fifth in the Corvette. As you see the Porsche trying to close, as we had a great battle through this portion of the field right now. This action in about 8th place back with that full throttle motorsports Porsche. There is an entire mess of cars as we head down into this complex. There we go. We'll take a look at the battle of this Porsche, followed by the Corvette of Tin Toes Racing and the IBN Racing Porsche 288 right back there, as all these cars right together. As you see, that trio that Hanley trails is pretty much right off the back of this group, so still fairly in touch, and in a lot of cases right now, this is each team's ace in the car right now, as you typically see in endurance racing. For a lot of these guys, you want to get off the start with your fastest guy, although with the pace of this Auburn trio, it can be debated which guy is going to be quickest on outright pace, but it's hard to go against the winner from Wednesday in Hanley taking the start for this one, as we continue to watch up and down this GT3 field. You see a move in the background there, the IBN Racing Porsche to the inside, going for 9th through turn number 1, and completes that pass on the Corvette of Tin Toes Racing. Again, your leaderboard on your screen is going to update every time we go by the start-finish line, so that is not always going to be 100% correct at the given time, but just know that it updates every time we start a new lap. So IBN in front of Tin Toes Racing now for 9th place, as you see on your screen. Let's jump back to the Auburn Mercedes, see how Pierce is getting on behind the Corvette and the Porsche. He's been trailing for a minute. As you see, side by side down into the hairpin, that Noob Squad Racing team still trying to defend. Side by side's difficult through there with the way the exit of the hairpin tightens with that extra kink, is now you see nose to tail again headed up towards Cunningham. And this is my favorite portion of the track to drive. I know when I hopped in a test session with the guys this week to get a feel for the track, it's so flowing, and you see close quarters there between the Porsche and the Corvette. This part, it's easy to overdo it. We saw that on Wednesday from leader at the time, James Bowman, on cold tires, who put a little bit too much on the loud pedal and spun through that complex. It's so easy to overdo through Collier, but out of Tower and down through Bishop, headed towards Le Mans. This entire group still all right together, but I know a little bit of a fast start today. It's kind of felt like everything has gotten going quite abruptly here this morning, but I do want to thank each and every one of you that is tuned in right now. I love bringing you these broadcasts of Auburn iRacing, and for this special event, it's just so nice to see the Auburn iRacing team be able to go up against so many of these other big iRacing programs and teams as well in a top split lobby like this. Get some representation for the college and some nice exposure to some great drivers too on display today for Auburn across both lobbies in both the Mercedes and the BMW. So should be exciting to follow these guys all day. Again, we got about an hour and a half for you guys on this first window here before we take our first break of the day. We'll have multiple broadcasts for you today. We should have 3 with the Mercedes and then 2 with the BMW. We'll get the start of the event and the end of the event if the Mercedes is still in a good position and running at the end. Obviously, that is subject to change depending on if any incidents occur, motorsport being unpredictable after all. But once again, side by side for the SimMotion.com portion, the Noob Squad Racing Corvette right together. Hanley just feels like for the last few laps he's been sitting back there with a bucket of popcorn just waiting for these guys to make a decision on who wants to go first in front of him, and he is getting a front row seat to this battle as, again, side by side, this time into Cunningham. Pierce will stay right with the Corvette as I believe that SimMotion.com or Porsche, might pull away now, though the Mustang GT3 in front of these guys might make that a bit difficult as he's fallen back into the clutches of this group of 3 and now 4 cars. You see the purple sector's Endurance Porsche has gotten right to the back of Hanley as well since field closing up. Mustang going to go to the inside. I believe had a bit of a moment heading down towards Bishop. He's going to be off throttle and losing positions rapidly as Hanley will pick up another one right there. So up into 16th now for Auburn iRacing. You love to see that. Gaining positions just steadily as we go through this race. Again, with endurance racing, you can not be at the start. Obviously, you get big field spreads in these events because of the size of the fields and the long time of the events. But the good news about endurance racing with the large field spread is you have 12 hours to make it back up. So you do not have to get everything at once. You can work your way through slowly and methodically as Hanley now trying to close onto the back of the Corvette right now. And you see on your track map, those yellow dots are the GTP field. And that GTP field is going to be coming through the GT3 traffic at a rate of speed. As you see, here is the front of the GTP field, as this Dutch team here with a name that I don't want to butcher in case we have anyone watching, but this Dutch team, the number 3, going to fly by the GT3 traffic right now. I believe that's Achterhoek is how that would be pronounced in Dutch, but down towards the hairpin you see coming up to the back of this GT3 field is I believe Hanley made the move on the Corvette. I did not see the Mercedes behind the Corvette ahead of us. No, okay, he still is behind him. The 2 white cars caught me off a little bit there, but you see the pace difference right here, and Pierce going to get caught right in the corner, not where you want that to happen. If you're Hanley, is you really want to get blown by on the straights. It's a lot easier. You lose a lot less time that way. Is now GTP going to go through on the Corvette as well through Tower, but it's going to be not a great spot for the Corvette either. Had to give up the optimum line through there, so a possible chance for a run from Hanley. But you look at the speed difference, and this is where it gets a little bit touchy down through these high-speed corners. I think it was 2 years ago we saw an accident with a GTP trying to pass a GT3 in the IRL 12 hours of Sebring through that exact complex. So it can get very hairy sometimes if this GT3 field is not on their P's and Q's. And that's another thing about endurance racing is it's the responsibility of the GT3s to be aware of where the GTP cars are. And I think the best thing you can do always as a GT3 driver is just hold your line. As you see the Porsche right on the back of Pierce, now turning under and going right by on the straightaway. The Cadillac in third, gonna blow by as well. You see the huge speed difference down the straights here at Sebring. That GTP flashing away on the headlights, just saying, please get out of the way, everybody. As Pierce is gonna have a pretty good run on the Corvette. Oh, 3 wide with the GTP into that corner. I don't know if that's gonna work. As you saw that Ferrari have to check up, and I think that might have honestly inhibited Pierce's ability to get by the Corvette, but he's going to dive back down the inside of the Noob Squad Racing machine, and he's going to be by. So Hanley now trying to close in on this Ferrari in front. As goodness, look at that mess down in towards the hairpin. Noob Squad Racing trying to come back on the inside, but Hanley's going to go for the dive on the Ferrari. Does he get the exit? They're going to stay side by side as we head towards Cunningham out of this complex, and Pierce should have the inside line for Cunningham if they go at this rate, but oh, GTP behind him That's a difficult spot, and GTP is going to have to wait. You cannot go 3 wide through here. That will not work out well for anyone. As we see cars off the track behind, a little bit of contact between Pierce and the Ferrari. Hanley going to get around, and now you got to think just let the GTP by after you get through Tower here on this straightaway, and then down through Bishop. So a little bit of a hairy situation, but good awareness and good driving from Hanley to pick up a couple positions and then let the GTPs go by. So solid, smart driving from this Auburn iRacing team to this point, and Pierce Hanley, as we are almost 20 minutes into the event now. And that Porsche was put off by the GTP through Le Mans. Hanley's going to be right on the back of the SimMotion.com Porsche down into Sunset. Oh, I think the GTP is going to spoil a chance at a move as it went down the inside. I don't know if Hanley would have looked for a move into Sunset anyway, but he certainly couldn't with that GTP coming through on his inside, as you see another GTP through the field. And this is one thing that Hanley did not have to worry about as much on Wednesday. It was a much smaller, much more spread out GTP field, whereas today it's going to be a fairly tight field spread for a lot of these GTP drivers, and they're going to be on their game. So a little bit more to think about is Hanley now up to 14th and on the back of this SimMotion.com Porsche that he's been behind for a pretty good portion of this race in the early going. Heading for those of you that are watching that do not know our Auburn drivers, little fun story on the back of this Mercedes AMG GT3. You've got some lovely text on the back that says just engaged. It might be difficult for you to see, but it's on the white stripe there. You see the lettering across, and that is for Pierce Hanley, who over spring break got engaged to his now fiance Heidi Harriet. So congratulations to Pierce and Heidi. Wishing the best for both of you guys. But nice touch on the back bumper of that Mercedes, as now he's going to be pushing forward back towards this Porsche into a mess. But hopefully some good luck from that sticker on the back, and a nice touch from the livery creator, which I believe is Pierce. So nice touch from him on the back of the car. But you love to see that, let these guys have fun with their liveries, and obviously big personal life moments like that you love to see get acknowledged. But that Lamborghini going wide, Hanley thinking about a move to the inside. It's a little bit more difficult to pick up throttle right there, as you see the Ferrari's going to close in. Oh, Hanley's in the wall. Hanley gets in the wall and he's sideways, and that is not what you want to see down the front stretch. He's going to lock it down and hit the rear on the wall, as well as multiple collisions with the wall for Pierce Hanley. We can take another look at it here, as you see through Le Mans. That Lamborghini in front is going to be wide and slow into the corner, and you see Hanley on the bottom part of the track. This Ferrari has a run behind him, and Hanley just trying to get to the throttle a little bit too much. Goes wide in the wall once, in the wall twice. The car settles and then can't quite save it. Goes left front into the wall there, that concrete wall on the left side, and then just trying to stay out of everyone's way, lock it down, and rears it into the wall. And you see the spoiler come off the Mercedes. If we can take a look at the onboard, I believe, for that, just to get kind of a feel of from the driver's perspective what's going on there, is you'll see firsthand how bumpy this corner is as we go through Sunset. Yeah, here on board with Pierce, trying to pick up throttle. You see into third gear, and just washes a little bit wide into the wall, and then after the second bounce off the tires, it's gone from there. It's so easy to lose it so quickly here in that scenario. Is now down into pit road for repairs will go Pierce Hanley. So not the ideal start that you wanted for this. Obviously, it's a difficult situation, but you do have time to rebound, although it will be an extremely tall task. Probably going to go a lap down, and he will, as the GT3 leader of the Swiss team, who has put out a 10-second lead over anyone else in the GT3 field. goes by, and now the rest of the front of the GT3 pack coming through. So Auburn will be at least one lap down. We'll keep an eye on the repairs to see how long it goes, but just an unfortunate exit off a sunset, and that's kind of the dark side of endurance racing. There is you get all the build up, you're ready for such a long event, and then just one mistake, you lose it, and suddenly you're fighting an uphill battle for 11 and a half hours. So we'll stay with this Mercedes here as we follow along in pits. You'll lose my voice here for about 30 seconds as I'm going to grab a drink, but don't worry, I will be right back as this Mercedes gets ready to head out of the pits in just a second. All right, and we're back. Following along with your GTP leader right now, this Dutch Cadillac Achterhoek sim racing team, leading by 6.2 seconds right now at the front of the GT3 field. And just a minute ago, you saw the accident for Hanley in the Auburn Mercedes. We're waiting for an update on what the repair time for that Mercedes is going to be. As soon as we find that out, we will have that information to you to keep you updated. But it's going to be a long day from here on out for this Auburn team. Obviously, for those of you that play iRacing, you might be familiar with fast repair. Not a thing in this event. You have to sit through that time and get the car back put together, back ready to go. As we're looking at our LMP2 leader right now, FZR SimSport, the 722 down into turn one. And LMP2, such a fun category, I know. Watching IMSA, it's one of my favorite categories to follow because it's kind of that middle ground where you're all driving the same car. It's a spec series in this Dallara chassis LMP2 car, so I think really one of the best tests of pure driver skill is this LMP2 because you're all in the same playing field, and it's just a matter of who can take advantage of it the best. And right now, it's definitely FZR as this team is out to a 5.5 second lead. So two pretty commanding leads at the start here in the 11 seconds for the Swiss team in GT3, and then 5.5 seconds at the top of LMP2. So pretty big leads right now. As you see, trying to get by the Corvette, as now this is second place in the LMP2 category. This is Falcon Racing Team, the Spanish team, together following them through the heart of the lap right now through Collier and up towards Tower. Is this entire race so far, we've seen a lot of passing, a lot of back and forth, and there's so many cars in this field here at Sebring today, especially in GT3, that if you're in an LMP2 or you're in a GTP, there's a lot of work you have to do. We've seen a lot of close battling in GT3 as well that these guys have to work their way through, and that's where it gets a little bit awkward, is if you're catching a GT3 and they're both battling, that neither one wants to get out of the way for you, even though they are technically obligated to do so. And as that faster traffic, you really have to be smart about picking your moment, but there is really what you want to be doing if you're an LMP2 car as you go right through. Is now the Auburn iRacing team sitting back behind multiple laps down. Obviously not what you want to see. Sitting 33rd in class right now. Jump up, and here's your GT3 leader at the moment. This Swiss team right now, iFalcon Esport. Again, for the names that are in other languages, I do apologize if I'm slightly butchering them, but I do want to get it as close as possible to correct, as this Swiss team is leading right now by 13 seconds. It has been shot out of a cannon off the start for the driver that's number 21 right now. No one in his zip code at all. And the best part about this for him is when GTPs or LMP2s come by, he's pretty much on his own. So he doesn't really have as much to worry about. He can stay on his line, hold his line, or hop out of the way if need be and not have to worry about giving up positions. And this is really just such an advantageous position to be in too, because for your strategy, you have time to react to what other people are doing. As the Connor Bros team and the Aston Martin in second is a full 12 seconds back. So undercut, overcut, whatever the other team wants to do, you have time to wait and see and come back against whatever their strategy is. With a gap like this out front, you can kind of just ride out and be safe and good to go. So keeping an eye on this Porsche here is here's second place in GT3 in the Aston Martin, 13 seconds back, but behind him you see about everyone and their brother in this GT3 field. You see the LMP2 leader in the back of your screen there in the FCR car, but this is your second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh in GT3 all on your screen right now in front of the LMP2. These guys have been battling all day, and you gotta wonder what's going through the heads as well when you're all together like this and you're battling second through seventh extremely close, knowing the leader is just 13 seconds ahead. You gotta wonder if that's slightly discouraging in any way. But we saw on a Wednesday a GT3 driver hop out to what was, I believe, a 7 or 8 second lead and then spin. So anything is possible. You just gotta keep your head in the game and keep pushing. That is the Aston Martin that Pierce Hanley won in on Wednesday, took victory in that Aston in the CIL Sports Car Series, and now it's running second today at this point for the Connor Bros squad with a lovely livery on that Aston. I think that looks incredible as LMP2 leader still coming through traffic right here, checked up behind that third place Mercedes of the Speed Eagles, the Polish team right there. So LMP2 you'd expect to go by here, and he does, flashing the headlights, and now down towards Bishop, would expect him to go by the Aston, but all of these cars just kind of holding station right now, content not to go for anything too risky, only 30 minutes into the race. So we'll see as everyone continues to hold station right here. But following along with this Aston Martin in P2, it's still about 8 or 9 minutes in the pits for Pierce Hanley on that Aston Martin. So we are going to leave it here for the opening stream, but we'll be back in just about 1 or 2 minutes. We're going to set up a new stream for the BMW M4, Auburn's other team in this race, and we'll get coverage of that to you here in just a couple minutes after this initial stream ends. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment, but we're going to cut over to the BMW as repairs on the Mercedes continue.